Hello everyone and welcome back to the very first What's for Dinner video of 2025. I am so excited to be here this year and I hope you guys like the video and subscribe to see more because I definitely have more videos planned to come out this year. And let's just jump into the video. So first off, we have this crock pot chili. This was super good, super easy. All it was one diced onion in the crock pot along with 2 cans of black beans, 2 cans of kidney beans, a can of tomato sauce, and a can of crushed tomatoes. I then added chili powder, cumin, a head of crushed garlic. I crushed it up in a baggie, that's why it looks like that. And then added 3 cans worth of water. And I realized at about the 2-hour mark that was just too much water. I should have done 2 cans, but it all worked out in the end because I ended up adding a cup of lentils, just dry, uncooked lentils into it. And as the lentils cooked, they absorbed the water, and so it turned out to be a very, very beautiful chili, and the lentils kind of took the place of the ground beef that you would normally have in a normal chili. So I just set it on low for about 6.5 hours. This is what it looked like after it was done cooking. It was nice and thick. I ended up adding in a couple spoonfuls of brown sugar because I had added that to the last chili I made and I really liked the consistency and the flavor it added. And just stirred it all together and served it over spaghetti noodles. I served it with sour cream and cheese on the side. And it was so good, so creamy, so filling. I cannot wait to make this dish again. The next dish is this Boursin spaghetti squash Alfredo dish, I guess you could call it. It was like an Alfredo, but it wasn't. It was just the cheese that made it like that and the tomatoes. So it was super easy. All you did was cut the squash in half and scoop out the insides, and then to each squash, I added a half of the cheese mixture that comes in the box of the Boursin cheese. And then I added a couple cherry tomatoes to each boat. I think I added about 5 cherry tomatoes to each one. I don't quite remember. I just added an even amount to all of them. And then I remember having one left over, and I remember just eating that one by itself. But this, I forgot to add Italian seasoning at the very beginning. That is something you don't want to forget. So definitely make sure and remember to add that when you oil it up in the very beginning before you put in your cheese mixture and your tomatoes. I also added some onions after I added the tomatoes. The recipe called for red onions, but I don't like red onions, so I ended up adding white. And I wish I had minced them. I had just diced them, so they weren't pretty big, but they were not like small. So I wish I had minced them. I definitely will do that next time because they were just chunks of, like, they were cooked, but they weren't soft. They were almost there, but they weren't. It was just enough to kind of mess with the texture a little bit. I just cooked it at 400 degrees for 50 minutes on this big baking sheet. If I had a casserole dish big enough, I would have used that because these kind of rolled around a little bit, but it was more annoying than anything. It didn't really mess with the recipe, but these were absolutely divine. I cannot wait to make them again. Next up, please ignore the awkward camera angles that you're about to see. I got a new tripod, so I was trying to figure out how I wanted to center it and record everything. So that's why there's really, really weird camera angles in this particular clip. But it was a vegan cashew Alfredo. Oh, it was so good. So creamy and delicious. You literally cannot tell a difference between this and a regular Alfredo. It was bomb. All it was 1 onion chopped up, sauteed with 1 head of garlic. And then while you're sauteing your onions and garlic, you want to have a pot of water boiling for your pasta. And then when the onions and garlic cool down, you just put them in a blender along with some nutritional yeast, which will give it that nice cheesy Parmesan flavor. And then some milk. I used lactose-free milk. If I had like a cashew milk, I would have used that. I used the rest of what I had in raw cashews. I just soaked those in a little hot water. I think I had like a cup's worth. So after I got done soaking those, I added those to the blender as well. And then I added in a coffee cup's worth. I think it would be like 8 ounces or maybe a cup of pasta water after it got done boiling. And then I blended it all together in this just amazing sauce and topped it with this really nutritious cashew Parmesan, which was just a cup of cashews, not raw cashews, roasted cashews, with like a cup of nutritional yeast. And I just blended that in a food processor, or I guess pulsed it in a food processor until it was the consistency of like that shaky Parmesan cheese. But this was so good, so awesome. I make this on a regular, and it is one of my favorite meals to make that can be easily plant-based and veganized. Next up was a major fail, not only in cooking, but in camera recording as well. I went to go hit the button to record, but instead of hitting the record button, I hit the power button on accident, which just turned the video from colorful to black and white. So some of this video will be in black and white. Please don't mind, it will be changed momentarily. But this is a cranberry Catalina chicken. It is just 1 can of cranberry. I had this left over from a Thanksgiving meal box that I was given, so I needed to use it, and I found this awesome video from Frugal Fit Mom, who I followed for a long time. She made this on one of her crock pot dinner recipes, and I was like, that looks good, I have to make it. But it's just 1 can of cranberry sauce, 1 packet of onion soup mix. I have never used this before, so I was so surprised, I shouldn't have been honestly, at all the ingredients there were. There were so many additives and fillers and preservatives, it was crazy. So I almost didn't want to use it, but the recipe called for it and I couldn't think of what else to use, so I had to use it. But I just mixed it all up in a bowl, and then I put a little bit of it on the bottom of the crock pot and added my chicken. I used boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I messed up majorly when I was cooking them because I did it on high for 6 hours because that's what Christine did in her video. But she was using, I should have realized, she was using bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, which you're supposed to cook for a little longer. I was only supposed to cook this for probably 2 hours on high, and I ended up cooking it for 6. So this chicken was very dried out, but it was very flavorful. The taste and the consistency of the sauce was amazing. We served it over rice. It was just good. It was good, but it would have been truly phenomenal had the chicken not been as dry as it was. So that's a little PSA out there to not follow the directions so close that you super overcook your chicken. Hope you guys like the video. I have tons more coming out this year that I'm hoping to get. So if you guys like the video, make sure and give it a like, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos. It's totally free. You don't have to pay anything. But I hope you guys love the video as much as I love making it, and have a wonderful rest of your day.